Kisan app brings agriculture at your fingertips. Explore unlimited agri products, watch demo, engage with brands, avail special offers. Come, download Kisan app.
So please start.
Namaste, good afternoon. My name is Rajender. I am working for a company called Crabo as a business development manager for Southeast Asia. Crabo is a world leader in retractable roof structure, which are the mostly built up in the tropical hot and mild climate. So my today's topic is actually suitable greenhouse technology for the Konkan region. So many of people actually asked me, requested me that kindly uh, refer a suitable technology for this region because Konkan region experience a very heavy rainfall and high temperature during summer. So that causes difficult to grow the crop. So as most of you might be aware about the Konkan region, it is actually area between the river Tapti to Kala Nadi, between the Western Ghat and Arabian Sea. This it is also a World Heritage Site. The Western Ghat is also a biodiversity hotspot of the world. And there are some special sites like Ajanta, Elephanta caves also in this region. Administrative, this area has three major regions. In Maharashtra, there are five districts: the Thane, Mumbai, Raigad, Ratnagiri, Sindhu, Durg, and there are some parts of Pune, Satara, and Kolhapur district, and the whole state of the Goa. And in Karnataka also, there are three districts like Uttar Kannada, Udupi, and Dakshini Kannada. So this area is actually known for farming for a very long time, since ancient time, and area grow a lot of rice, millets, pulses. Uh, then there are a lot of plantation crop like coconut, mango, cashew nut, betel nut, and so many others. As this region experienced a very heavy rainfall during summer period from June to October, so due to heavy rainfall, the, there are a lot of humidity during this time also. So as I have mentioned that there are major commercial crops in this region: coconut, areca palm, mango, especially this Alfonso mango. It is a world famous variety which is grown in this region, and it is indigenous to this the region of Ratnagiri and Devgarh. And people, they got a very good price of this mango. Cashew nut is the other crop, jackfruit. Then local known ratambi, which is also called a kukum, is also grown in this region beside so many other fruits. So climate is a very big challenge in this region because higher summer temperature and humidity, it sometimes it's become very difficult to grow the crop, especially in the open field. but also in the some polyhouses also. And humidity, it actually causes a lot of fungal issues, bacterial problems, and there is a fruit aversion also. So uh, there is also that sometimes this occurrence of cyclone like Tukate that happened a few days back. So that also caused a severe damage to the crops and structures there. And there are some other challenges also beside this weather condition, that electricity is also uh, sometimes is undependable or expensive also. If you are going for a very high-tech type of farming, then you need a power. Soil, maybe it's lateritic type of soil. There may be soil depth is less, actually it's a slopy land, and due to heavy rainfall, the topsoil get washed away. Water availability is good in this region, but maybe there may be some saline area or some waterlogged area in the coastal region. Uh, Farmer, they have a very good experience in growing in the open field, but probably they have the problem with under the protection. And if you are going for a large scale projects, commercial projects, then you need a lot of financing also. And this financing is also limited available to the growers. Size of farm is also very small. It's uneconomical also. Mostly it is actually, you can say, the subsistence for the farmer families. And if you are going for a very high-tech type of technology, then you need to import many things there. So then it becomes costly because of import duty. So I will give you some of the that quick overview of the advantage and disadvantage of the different available protected cultivation technology in this region. So tunnels, they are actually a very low cost production system. Mostly it is used in the winter time or in the temperate region at the higher elevation. This type of structure maybe as a rain shelter can be used in some parts of high mountains in the Western Ghats, but not generally suitable for the other the coastal region. Uh, Polyhouse is the best design, one of the best design in this region. There are two types of polyhouses. One is freestanding. You can see this picture on the this right hand side. And left hand side is a multi-span because you have a many houses here jointed with the gutter. So this type of structure, they are made of either bamboo or wooden or this multi-span structure. They are normally made up of galvanized steel. So there are advantages and disadvantages of polyhouses also. Although that for the last 30 years, people have seen there are a lot of projects they have come up in this region, but still you need to upgrade the technology also. So this type of polyhouse, they work very well during the winter time when you have a temperature range of 10 to 28 degree. And normally it keeps your crop warm during winter, but summer temperature inside the house, it becomes very hot, normally 10 to 15 degree higher than the outside. So this structure, they protect your crop against the rain, hail, storm, and cold and winds. And you can cover a large area also because price is not very high of these polyhouses. And you can also have the change in the harvesting time as compared to the open field. Either you can advance your harvesting or you can postpone your harvesting. So, but there are a lot of disadvantages also. because polyhouses, they become very hot during summer, and also during rainy season, it's a very humidity goes very high when you have a outside humidity more than 80%. So the other major disadvantage that due to this uh, sunlight, uh, lack of sunlight means because it's a covered structure, and you have lack of wind also, because wind wind can't blow inside the structure, so that reduce your transpiration rate in polyhouses. Normally, if you have a good transpiration, then you have a sturdy plants. So there is also salt buildup. If you are having a soil-based media, then because you use a lot of chemical fertilizer, soluble fertilizer in a irrigation system, mainly the drip system. So there is a salt buildup in soils. So normally that either you have to remove your soil or bring the fresh soil, or you have to allow the rainwater to come inside, so that the excessive soil that build up in the soil, that should be washed and leached down. So during the daytime, it's very difficult inside a polyhouse to work for your staff members or workers, because temperature is 15 to 20 degree higher than the outside temperature during daytime. And if you see, the insect population also multiply very rapidly inside the polyhouse, so you have to use a lot of chemicals. So if you are following the organic protocol, so it's very difficult to manage inside the polyhouses. And there is also very high risk of losing the crop and plastic during the heavy heavy winds. Just like if you see the 2 days back, due to this cyclone, uh, there is a lot of polyhouses or greenhouses, they has been damaged in this region. So the option is the fan pad structure. They are a this high tech type of structure, and cost is also high as compared to the polyhouse. These structure, they work very well during summer, especially the late spring and the summer, late summer, and you can protect your crop from rain, hail, and cold. And cooling system, that you have a evaporative type of cooling system in this structure, so that will help to extend your crop harvesting season. But as in case of polyhouse also, because it's a stationary structure with a stationary roof, so your crops, they are not exposed to the direct sunlight. And the operating cost is also very high in this case. Almost you have to use 1,000 to 2,000 kilowatt hours of electricity per day per hectare. So that electricity is a very costly uh, in most part of our country, and it's also very erratic also. So it involves a lot of cost. So as in case of the stationary roof, transpiration is also less here also, due to lack of direct sunlight, wind, and higher inside humidity. Especially during the monsoon season, you can't get rid of humidity inside the structure. Either you have to install a dehumidifier, which is also involve with additional cost. And there is also a salt buildup, just like in the polyhouse also, if you are doing a soil-based media. And there is also risk of roof to be blown by the high winds. Other major disadvantage with the fan pad, that you can't build longer than 15 meter, because this the design limitation of the fan bed structure. So as you can see here also that this photograph I got 2 days back. So due to high wind and sometimes hailstorm also takes place in some part of Maharashtra or Gujarat. And you can see the structure here. So the whole roof is gone. And it's not only the roof is gone, but you also lose the crops. So if you have not insured your structure and crop, so it is a catastrophic loss. So it's very difficult to recover that loss, financial loss. So now that there are some key learnings that between the conventional production system, that because most of our polyhouse, these net house or greenhouse, they have a stationary poly shade and net roofs, and which has many advantage and disadvantage. I will not repeat again because I have already explained to all of you. And it's very impossible to prevent all these problems. It also lead to the reduction in your revenues, and it also increase your operating cost. Management also becomes very complicated, and none of these production system, they are optimal 12 months per year. So what is the best for this climate? So I will share with you the short video. Kindly watch this video. Yes, before going for this video, I have this poll. So I will give you the time. So kindly participate in this poll, so that I will know that what type of system you are having. So the time starts now. Please go ahead. I will give the 1 minute for all these 5 questions. So your time stops now. So I will share the results. Yes, so that first question, that do you know about polyhouse farming? So almost 90% people, they said yes, it's a good number. Second question, have you built your polyhouse? 22% said yes, and 78% said no. So there are many people that they are looking for this type of technology. So third question, but crops are grown inside polyhouse in your area? Multiple choice that I have given. So most of people, 83% people said vegetables, 61% flowers, fruits 17%, others 17%. I think there is something wrong here. What crops you are planning to grow in future? So there are multiple questions here also. Vegetable 94%, flowers 39%, fruits 11%, others 17%. Oh, actually, this is the number of people participated and they have replied. So percentage on that basis. Okay, that's good. If you are a poly house grower, what challenge you are facing? Multiple question. High temperature, 61% people said that the high temperature is the big challenge. 56% people said the humidity, and 39% said that insect pest attack. So it's a good response from the. Thank you very much for participating. Now I will start this brief video. It will give you an idea that how this technology works for the tropical humid climate. So kindly go through this video. Sorry. Sorry.
Today, more people around the world than ever before are integrating fruits and vegetables into their diets. And as a result, retailers want to have stock available all year round. But there are several big challenges that growers like you are facing to meet this increasing demand. Extreme and inconsistent weather patterns result in inconsistent supply. Input costs are frequently rising faster than selling prices. And insects cause massive damage to crops at the same time as consumers demand that their food is produced with minimal chemicals. So for you, the challenge is how to have predictable and consistent supply when the weather is inconsistent. For over 35 years, we've been working on the solution. Introducing the retractable roof production system, which creates a more consistent growing environment for farmers in warm and hot climates. When the weather is ideal, the roof will automatically retract, allowing the natural outdoors to come inside. When cold, rain, or hail comes, the roof will automatically close to protect the plants. And when there is high summer heat, the roof closes 80% to protect the plants from direct sun, while also allowing for ventilation and cooling. The system is very efficient, as it requires only 1 to 2 kilowatt hours of electricity per day, per hectare, and requires minimal water for cooling when temperatures exceed 35 degrees Celsius. Cravo houses have proven to resist damage from hail and major storms, such as hurricanes and cyclones. By working with Cravo, you can create optimum growing conditions year-round to produce crops with larger size, with higher yields, longer shelf life, extend your harvest season, or target a completely different harvest season. Together as partners, we will create an innovative production system to meet your market opportunities and climate challenges, while targeting a 3 to 5 year return on investment. Join us as we continue to build production systems of the future that combine nature and protection to create superior growing environments.
So, nature plus protection. So it's a very simple technology that when you have a good outside condition, so roof will remain retracted. It will close only when you have a rainfall or temperature 35 plus during summer, or less than 10 degree during winter, or you have a storm, very heavy wind, or you can say the hail or something, that whatever the unusual which will be um, harmful to your crop, then the roof will close down. So whenever the roof close down, so people think then it will heat up the environment inside. But here it will not close 100%. It will close 90%, maybe sometime only for a brief time during cyclone, it will close 100%. Otherwise, it will close mostly 95%, and it will give a shade, just like a shade of the umbrella or shade of the big tree or shade of the white cloud. So there are 4 type of models which are applied in the tropical regions. So if you can see here, my cursor, this is a flat roof structure. This structure is normally installed in a tropical dry condition, just like Rajasthan or Aurangabad in Maharashtra. It is a very good model for that region. You can cover any size of field. It may be 1 acre or 10 acre or 20 acre or 100 acre. And opening and closing of the roof, as you might have seen in the video also, it is just 4 or 5 minutes. and all is opening, closing is based on the actually climatic. It's totally on automation. So next, the best model is this X frame, which this is here. This is the model which I think most suitable for your region, because it has a gutter, so you can protect your crop against the rain also. So you can install this structure for any shape and size. And other advantage that if you have a 4-5% slope, then you can install in the with retaining that slope, this structure. So the next model is a rafter house. This is mainly used for nursery purpose. It has a wider span, maybe 14 meter or 16 meter, single span house, very wide span house. And A-frame is a top model. Actually, this model is installed for a very extreme conditions where just like in the eastern coast, or you can say in some part of the western coast also, where you have a very high wind speed of 200 kilometer per hour, or in the high mountains where you have a snow or hail or something, that if you want to build up a small project for R&D purpose, then this A-frame and rafter house, you can build up to minimum size of 1,000 square meter. But other these two models, they are for a large scale operation. So there are 4 type of applications of a retractable roof. Greenhouse means that it will heat up the environment. Normally greenhouse, they are installed in the temperate region. Cooling house, these are the most uh, desirable structure for the tropical climate. Field covers, to cover any field, and orchard covers, depending on what roof covering we are using and which crops are grown. So we can classify into different applications. So here you can see it's a retractable roof greenhouse. So the major difference is the covering. So here you can see this plastic covering is clear plastic here. So when you close this plastic 100% or 95%, then it will allow maximum light to penetrate inside. So normally in the winter time, that before the sunset, you close the roof and trap the whatever the heat available inside your structure, so that the heat may last the night. But I think will not be a issue in your area. So the roof plastic is a woven plastic polyethylene, which has a life of 8 to 12 years. Sometimes it lasts for 15 years also. And normally this type of structure, they are with this clear plastic, they are installed between 30 to 50 north-south latitude. You may see that the area that above Srinagar, means toward Russia, that region is suitable for such type of installation where you have a winter. This is the cooling house, means that you have a cooling roof, which is a white in color. The same is a polyethylene woven plastic, and it has the same life of 8 to 12 years. We have seen that in Australia, that one of client has replaced after 18 years. So it will give you a shading effect when a roof is closed 95%. So it will give you more than 80% shade, just like you can see here also. So normally what happened that when you have a good condition, you open the roof. So photosynthesis, you do not disrupt the photosynthesis process during daytime. You close after 11 or 12 when you have a temperature 35 plus, because at this temperature, your stomata gets closed and no photosynthesis takes place. So it is better the plant to keep in under shade, so that you can protect not only your crop, but also moisture also. So there are two types of variants of this white roof. One is laminated, means that if you are putting up a peak to roof type of structure like X frame, rafter, or A frame, then you are using the laminated roof, because you have to protect 100% from the rainwater. But in non-laminated roof, normally applied on the flat roof, because you are allowing the rainwater to come inside in the desert area conditions. So now the field cover, that you can cover any field, means any crop, means it may be a cereal crop, it may be a vegetable, so it may be any shape and size, it may be rectangle, it may be undulating. So you can see here, so this is a X-frame structure here, so you can cover any piece of land, even on the sloping land also, you can construct this X-frame type of structure. So we called it as a field cover. And then orchard cover also, that because a lot of people, lot of grower now actually putting up this type of structure for protecting the high value crop, like Alfonso and Kesar mango is also very high value. You can because of change in the climate, so you or if you are looking for a early harvesting of your crop so that you can get a good premium, then it's better to put up this type of roof. uh, Here you can see this is a mango plantation in Australia under this retractable roof structure. Here you can see this is a avocado plantation, same in Australia. And you can see that if you have a slopy land, so you can put up a structure like that as per your slope, but slope should not be more than 5%. So we have a two type of retractable roof layers. You can see here that if we are putting up a structure here in Delhi, then we have a two roof. Top roof is actually clear roof, means that this roof will operate during winter. It will heat up the environment. And lower roof is actually white roof, so it will cool down the summer temperature. So that with the two roof, you can actually maintain the same condition during summer and winter. Here you can see from outside the same two roof. Uh, as many people, they have mentioned that they, there is an insect problem also. So you have a two option there. One is the stationary insect net below this retractable roof, and other one is the retractable insect net below the roof. So this type of stationary insect net we normally install in a dry location like Rajasthan area, where you have actually very less rainfall, and you have to conserve your humidity also, beside protecting against the insects. But in your Konkan region, the Western Ghat region, or in the eastern coast also, where rainfall is 100,000 millimeter plus, so there you need to actually get rid of excess humidity during monsoon. So you need to have a retractable type of insect net. Only that when there are certain time, or there is a period that when you have a high insect pressure, then you can close this insect net. So there are some major differences between these retractable roof houses and conventional structures. So I think it is a useful video if you are able to see this whole video. So let me share with you.
The difference between a retractable cooling house and a conventional greenhouse. When evaluating different greenhouse or tunnel designs, the critical first step is to determine whether it is more important to be able to manage extreme heat or extreme cold, which is usually determined by the latitude, elevation, and time of the year Growers in countries like Holland, Canada, and Russia struggle to grow during the wintertime, for months at a time, and light levels are low. It is for these climates that conventional greenhouses were developed, since the clear glass or poly roof covering is designed to maximize light transmission and trap as much heat as possible. However, growers located between the equator and latitude 30 struggle to produce high quality degrees. Growers located in countries like India, South Africa, Mexico, and Australia can struggle with tropical conditions where the high temperatures are accompanied by high humidity levels, while at the same time needing to protect the crops from heavy summer rains and hail. However, growers located in areas like the Middle East, Arizona, and the dry locations in Australia and South Africa struggle with 35 to 50 degree air temperatures combined with humidity levels dropping down to 20%. When growers in both humid and dry locations install a conventional greenhouse, they typically use clear glass or plastic roof coverings to help provide high light levels to the plants. But the clear roof covering creates the greenhouse effect, causing air temperatures inside to rise even further, even though outside air temperatures were already between 35 and 50. To make matters worse for growers in tropical locations, outside humidity levels are already too high, and the greenhouse covering causes humidity levels to go even higher, resulting in plants growing vegetatively and with greater problems with foliar disease. The heat and humidity buildup in conventional greenhouses is further aggravated when growers have to install insect net over their vents, which further reduces air exchange. To compensate for excessive heat inside, growers using conventional greenhouses will apply white paint on their clear roof or install stationary shade cloth inside, which causes a constant reduction in light levels, which is negative during the early morning and later afternoon and during periods of extended cloudy conditions. So how is a retractable cooling house different than a conventional greenhouse? There are three key differences. The first difference is that the roof covering is white instead of clear. The white roof covering will block more heat before it enters the house, just like when a conventional greenhouse gets whitewashed in the summer. The white roof covering will also cause higher diffusion, resulting in light being distributed to all the leaves and preventing excessive water loss, especially at the growing tip. The second difference is the direction of the opening in the roof when the houses are in ventilation mode. The opening on a retractable roof is horizontal, whereas the opening in a conventional greenhouse vent is vertical. The difference between a vertical to move horizontally to escape through the vents, which causes the amount of air which escapes the greenhouse to change based on whether the wind is blowing towards or away from the vent. This means that the temperature and humidity levels inside of a conventional greenhouse is dependent on which way the wind is blowing. However, when the roof opening is horizontal, the wind direction does not significantly impact on the rate of air exchange. In addition, when the hot air rises naturally through convection, the horizontal opening does not impede the exit of hot air. The third difference between a conventional greenhouse and a retractable cooling house is that the roof can retract completely to eliminate the blockage of light from the roof covering, allowing plants to receive direct sunlight. In the winter, daytime temperatures outside are normally ideal and cold temperatures only occur at night. This means that the roof would be closed only at night, which implies that the plants will be exposed to maximum sunlight during the day, and the white roof will not have a negative impact on light levels. During the hot summer days, the temperatures outside are normally ideal for 2 to 5 hours after sunrise and again for several hours before sunset. So at these times, the white roof will be retracted, so plants again are getting optimal light levels for 4 to 6 hours per day. The critical time of the day during the summer is between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., since both radiation levels and air temperatures are high. It is at this time of the day when a retractable cooling house really stands apart from all other conventional greenhouse designs. If the conventional greenhouse has a clear roof, the air temperatures inside of the greenhouse between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. will be even hotter than outside, causing the vents to open completely. Opening the roof vents 100% for cooling will then cause a dramatic reduction in humidity levels inside, which will then cause plants to transpire excessively if humidity levels are less than 50%. If a grower then closes the roof vents part way to try to increase the humidity levels, then the air temperature will become even hotter, which means that a grower in a dry climate using a conventional greenhouse cannot achieve both low temperatures and high humidity levels at the same time. This means that they will need to add mist or fog, which will increase the amount of water being consumed for cooling and humidification. Some growers in dry climates will use pad and fan cooling to achieve cooler temperatures. The challenge here is that the stationary roof needs to be clear to maximize the light levels to the plants, but the clear roof covering will also cause air temperatures inside to increase at a rapid rate, which then causes the pad and fan cooling system to use more water and electricity to remove the additional heat generated by the clear roof covering. Unfortunately, if you use a pad and fan cooling system in a tropical climate, the high humidity in the outside air limits the efficiency of the evaporative cooling system, resulting in the climate inside being hot with excessive humidity, even though the fans are running at full capacity. However, if you use a retractable cooling house to manage the excessive heat between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., the white roof will reduce the amount of heat which enters the house and reduce the temperature of exposed leaves and fruit, allowing the roof to be retracted only to naturally rise, which in turn helps slow down the transpiration rate, again helping to conserve water. The plants grown in a retractable cooling house can typically tolerate much higher temperatures than those grown in a conventional greenhouse, since they naturally develop smaller leaves with a thicker wax coating, helping them to naturally have a lower transpiration rate during hot, dry conditions. For situations where crops would benefit from a further reduction in air temperatures and from higher humidity levels in the afternoon, a low-pressure misting or fogging system can be added. The misting system typically only needs to be activated for 8 to 15 seconds every 3 to 5 minutes.
Actually, I'm stopping this video here. It's a very long video.
The difference.
So if anybody want to see this video, so you can just Google our website, www.cravo.com, and you will get all the details. There are different videos and different models and crops also. So I will share another video that how this retractable roof technology it helps to protect your structure against the strong winds. So during the last 35 years of when this technology came into being, so we have never lost even a single structure, even though that we have experienced a lot of cyclones in Florida, California, Mexico, even Philippines also, Indonesia. So we have never lost even a single square meter of a plastic. So kindly watch this live video.
¿Y el baño?
This video is taken up in Mexico in 2019 at the place called Culiacan. Culiacan is the place at 24 degree latitude, just like Indore. But this place is very near to the sea. And there are every year there is a sense of very strong wind. So you can see that here we have a very network of wires on the roof, and this is above the plastic. So that's why that we never lose a roof. You can see that what a heavy strong wind they are taking place outside. So even 2 years back, we have a very heavy windstorm type, that occurred at our site in Brindaban in UP, Western UP. And that structure is designed for 110 kilometer. And the wind speed that reported by that controller is 140 kilometer. So you can imagine that how robust the structure that we have designed. So now I will come to state where the crops that are grown inside the retractable roof. You can see this picture also. We can grow multiple crops, tomato, capsicum, brinjal in a single house also. You can grow the leafy and herbs, berries, strawberry, blueberry, blackberry, fruits like melons, papaya, avocado, mangoes, then a lot of turmeric, that nutraceutical crop like turmeric, ashwagandha, ginger, they are now taken up by our clients. Flowers, you can grow any type of flowers, whether it's annuals or perennials or ornamentals or nursery plants. So any crop that you mention. So strawberry is a very popular crop in your region, especially in this Mahabaleshwar area, where it's grown on a very large area. So if you have a structure like this, because Mahabaleshwar strawberry is available from December to February end, or maybe the first week of March or first half of March. But you can extend your or you can put this harvesting period with the retractable roof. So you can produce more berries. Normally that up to 1 kg per plant, that is yield that our growers they are taking from retractable roof. And the quality is also very good, the shelf life and quality, because you are having full sun for these crops, so that increase your quality and sweetness. So inputs also, that it has been reported that fungicides, they are reduced by almost 90%, because what happened in a stationary type of structure, just like greenhouse or polyhouse. So you have a that moisture build up during night time, and that moisture fall on your crop, then it will cause fungal problems. But here also, that here in the retractable roof, because just with the sunrise your roof opens, and then whatever the moisture that on your plants, that dries up quickly, and you avoid your fungal problems. So leafy and herbs, because many people in Mumbai or Pune area, they are growing this lettuce and loloso, and then some herbs also. You might have seen that lettuce, you need to have a crunchy leaf, means that it should have a crunchiness. Otherwise, it loses quality. But in a stationary type of polyhouse or a greenhouse, it's very difficult to grow to have a crunchy leaf. So that advantage you can take in a crab only. That the lettuce that grown, that it will be a lettuce leaf just like grown in the field, open field. So we have already this leafy projects here in Delhi. Now in Hyderabad, Simply Fresh is a very big setup that have came up last year. We have a project in Pattaya in Thailand, and Florida, USA, and Australia. There are many projects there. So other crop is a very important, cucumbers, that you can produce. You can take 3 or 4 cycles. Almost year round, you can have a cucumber production. But when you have a outside temperature 30 plus, then inside polyhouse, the temperature may go up to 50 degree centigrade. So then the flower drop or flower fruit aversion takes place. So in this case, as I told in the video also, that we have a cooling roof, so that if temperature outside is 40 plus, then inside leaf temperature will be 10 to 25 degree less, 10 to 25 degree less than the leaf temperature outside. I'm not talking here about the air temperature, because for photosynthesis, for the crops, leaf temperature is more important than the air temperature. Air temperature is important, especially during night. You need to have a cooler night temperature, so that you could have a good flowering, fruiting, and there are some crops which require the chilling hours also, just like strawberry and blueberry and some fruit crops like apple, cherry. So they need a chilling hours, means that they need a minimum hours when the temperature should be less than 7 degrees centigrade during night time. So you can have a easily 3 crops, but maybe 4th crop also, that many of our growers, they are taking a yield of between 45 to 50 kg per square meter. And pollination is actually very big challenge for cucurbits. Actually, if you have a stationary roof, then there are some, although that cucumber is actually different crop, so you have a male female same on the same plant, but there are other crops, cucurbits, that you need to have a pollination, you need to have a bumblebees, but bumblebees, they are not allowed here. And in a stationary roof, air movement doesn't take place, so you are not pollinating fully your crop. But in retractable, it's not a problem, because you close the roof only when you have a temperature very high or rainfall high. Tomato is another crop that during monsoon period in Mumbai or Pune, you might have seen that due to prolonged monsoon season and sometime the logistic issue due to flooding, then prices go very high, especially during after the 20th of June to October, November, because that is the period when you have a very heavy rainfall in the Western Ghat region. So if you have this type of retractable roof, you can grow tomato in that region very well. And you almost you can supply the harvest the crop 7 to 12 months per year. So you can have a long cycle tomato, means that long cycle means that indeterminate type of variety, which you can transplant in the month of February, March, and you can harvest up to October, November. And depending upon some price window, you can have a that 2 cycle also with the semi-determinate type of tomato, which has a 8 to 12 feet height. So you can put up those semi-determinate type of tomato also. So I have came across many people in Mumbai, especially the people who are aggregator or retailer. They have a challenge to get a quality tomato in the month of monsoon period. So I think that if anybody interested, so you can put up this type of structure and you can harvest crop at least 7-8 months a year. Sweet pepper is already grown by many grower in Nasik region, in Satara region, in many part of other Maharashtra also. but still there is still a quality issue because self-life is not good inside net house or polyhouse. So if you are growing in a retractable roof, definitely you are increasing your shelf life because uh, the wall thickness is almost 20% higher as compared to polyhouse, and you have a 40% higher firmness, and you have a 35% less dehydration after the 15 days of harvesting, post harvesting storage. So that means sweet pepper grown inside the cravo roof can last very long. Even after harvesting, you can last for 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks. And you have a good shining also, shining color also. So this is another that very promising crop for your Konkan region, mango, that already all of you are aware that you have a very good variety, that Alfonso. Uh, but I have heard from the people that Alfonso is also getting challenged because of unseasonal rain, climatic change. Then sometime you are getting the late harvest, or there are some hailstorm issues, and spongy tissue also the problem that the quality then decrease in the this mango Alfonso. So I'm very confident that because we have done already that project in Australia, and on mango and avocado, the quality is definitely better than the open field. So if anybody interested to invest in Alfonso with this type of retractable root structure, definitely he will get the advantage. So we are ready to help him. So avocado is another promising crop because this is becoming a very popular as a superfood. So it requires actually subtropical type climate. So Western Ghat region, I think, is an ideal place for growing the avocado also. So you can grow in the open also, but you can, if you are looking for good quality, you can grow under the shade also. The ideal temperature range for these crops is between 24 to 27 degree centigrade. As that if you have a 35 plus temperature, then there are chances of flower or fruit drop in this crop. And Alfonso mango is grown west where rainfall is above 2000 mm per annum. And then ornamental trees nursery, then it's a very good scope. Already that in the Pune region, there are lot of nurseries which are producing material not only for the domestic market but also for the exports. But I think that if you need to have a study plant with the which you can transport to a longer distance to avoid this transport shock or transplantation shock. So you can put up a retractable roof, and this type of structure you can see here. Even some ornamental trees or tall trees you can put up under shade, under protection, under this flat roof type of structure. So young plants, that vegetable nursery that you can grow very well. Now these actually grafted type of technology in cucurbits or solanaceae is coming up. So I think then for a good root shoot development and sturdy plant, it's better to have this type of structure. Most of grower in Australia or in USA, they prefer the retractable roof because they transport their planting material from Australia to Middle East. So you can imagine. So we are near to Middle East. So if we have a structure, good quality, retractable roof, then definitely we will have a edge over the Australian people. Pot flowers, if the cravo, when they started its journey 40 years back, then they started with the actually nursery or pot flowers. So we'll find a lot of projects in USA and Canada in almost every city and town. So cannabis is another important crop coming up in USA, Canada, and European countries. I think India is also now coming up. So normally these cannabis is grown in indoor, and cost of growing this is very high and indoor, because you have to need to have a lot of energy cost inside the indoor these containers. And so Cravo offers the very good opportunity for those people who are looking for to produce a good quality medicinal cannabis, uh, uh, be they good percentage of the this contents that CBD or THC. So now with the COVID, this nutraceutical crops, this has during the last 2 years that there is an enormous increase in these nutraceutical crops all over the world. So people are looking for a quality produce that be they certified type of produce, so that because we have a lot of crops, these turmeric and ginger here in India, but nobody knows that what chemicals people apply during the growing stage. But if you have a this type of system, so as I have told you that under the retractable roof, you have 90%, 80 to 90% less fungicide use, and 40 to 60% insecticide use. So you can follow the organic protocol very well. Uh, so we have a project now in Hyderabad where they are growing this turmeric and ashwagandha and ginger under the retractable roof. So this is also another opportunity here in India, because we have the largest animal population, but the sites that normally we prepare for animals, they are not environment friendly. They because these animals, they emit a lot of gases. So whenever you enter inside any cow shed or any ranch area or in a structure, then you will feel the smell of this the gases that are coming from the animals urine or their breathing. So if you have this type of retractable system, it's not only provide a congenial environment, but animal, they feel a very good, they look healthy, and they will give you good milk and meat also. So then this is also another opportunity that, especially in the metro area, if you are planning some retail counter or some hotel or golf courses, or you can put up a retractable roof over your stadium, or even in Australia, New Zealand, that now the cricket stadium, the people for the practice session, they are using the retractable roof for the for having the practice session. And you can put up you can see here this picture also. This is a Disneyland photo from USA. We are you have a retractable roof, so that you can increase the footfall of your customers. So Cravo started in India, in South Asia in 2014. So since then we have a half dozen of projects with the Namdari seed in 2015. Then we have this hydroponic project for leafy and herbs in Pattaya in 2016, with the Dower in Delhi, just near the international airport. So they wanted to grow medicinal herbs, some leafy and other stuff. So they are doing very well in the Delhi condition, when summer temperature very high, 45 plus, winter uh, very low. Sometimes you have a lot of foggy period during winter, smog also. So they are getting the year-round production. We have a project with the DS Grow in 2018. So they are growing blueberries in Mathura climate. So all of you might be aware about the climate of Mathura. And blueberry is basically a cold loving crop. So it needs some 300, 400 chilling hours. But it's growing very well in the tropical condition also because we have a cooling roof. Then we have two very big projects. They are Simply Fresh in near Hyderabad, in Telangana, and Triangle Farm at Jahirabad. So these two projects, they have a very diverse type of crops they are growing. So they are you can see the ideal model for the corporate type of farming that you can see there. So uh, as I told you that we have started this triangle farm in 2018 and so 2020 that we have just completed this project. So this is a six hectare X-frame structure. 6 hectare means 15 acre, single structure. You can see here how big is the structure. This one, you can see all the machinery here. It doesn't look like a greenhouse. So it's just like a field cover. It looks like. So there will be growing actually this colored capsicum, cucumber, and maybe some specialty type of tomato. And this year they will harvest the crop after a few months, after few days. Simply Fresh is a very prestigious project in Telangana with a very heavy investment. So here you can see that there is a A-frame house for nursery, A-frame for research and development, 2 hectare house for the leafy, 2 hectare house for the vines, means tomato, capsicum, and cucumber, and almost the same size for the nutraceutical crop like turmeric, then this ashwagandha, then there are some other crops they are trying. So you might be interested to know that what will be the cost of the structure. So as your climate is hot and humid, so so you need to have this X-frame type of structure in your climate. If you are putting up a something like 1 hectare, then price will be between $40 to $55. And if it is a larger area, 5 hectare, then price may come down drastically to 33 to 47. So other models than the A-frame and rafter house, so I have not mentioned here because they are rafter and A-frame. They are costlier than the X-frame. So these type of model we can supply for a smaller area also. If anybody is interested to put up this hydroponics facility in the Mumbai or Pune region, so we can supply up to 1,000 square meter, minimum size 1,000 square meter. So thank you very much. So and thanks very much for listening for this long presentation. And I'm looking for a question from the people now. So
There's a question in chat box, sir.
okay.
What is the GSM of oven plastic by Saurabh?
Okay, so actually it's not a polyfilm, just like that. Normally that we use the 200 micron, this polyfilm normally in our polyhouse. It's actually woven polyethylene. It is a laminated from both sides, and it has a woven fabric inside. So from micron point of view, it is something like 250 micron. So GSM I have to verify from my colleagues.
What is the diffusion percentage of plastic? He's asking.
Actually, you might be looking for that because that diffusion means that for the shade. Actually, retractable has a different concept. Means that when you have a good condition, just like during morning, evening, during summer day or during winter, during daytime, we have a very good weather condition. So we keep the roof open. So normally this type of terminology is used for a polyhouse because you need, you have a permanent roof over top and you need to have a shade. Either you put up a shade over the roof or you put up inside the roof. But in the case of retractable, when we close the roof, then it creates a shade. So it is depending upon that how much shade you want to give. You want to close 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, depending upon the humidity and the this intensity of the sun. So you can create the shade. So we have a lot of flexibility. Grower has a lot of flexibility. That flexibility you can't get in a polyhouse or in a so, uh, as you are looking for this, the shading diffusion for a white cooling roof that has almost 85% diffusion actually. But the clear plastic that we are using that has a 35 to 40% diffusion. But it is when it is closed. But once it's open, it's direct. That sunlight is coming to the plant directly. So there's no need of the covering.
So there are some questions in the Q&A box.
Yeah, yeah.
As you said, there is a gap in between for air to escape, but for insects to control, how this can be done in retractable greenhouses, polyhouses?
Yeah, it's a very good question that I have, as I have told that normally that the crops that we grow in the retractable is a very hardy crop because you are hardening your crop from germination or after transplanting. You are exposing to the natural conditions. So you have a very hardy plant. Inside a polyhouse or in a permanent stationary net house, you have a succulent type of plant, means that you have a very big leaf or that longer internode distance between your stems also, because that plants normally grown inside a polyhouse or in a greenhouse or in a net house, a lanky type of plant. It's not a hardened plant, because that's why that when you take up the capsicum from the polyhouse to the outside environment, it shrinks. Same with the lettuce also. When you take out from your polyhouse and outside, if within few minutes or within exposure to half an hour, that will shrink because that is growing in a succulent, in a very hot and humid conditions. So then it's not a thicker leaf. It's not a harder leaf. So it's not a harder fruit also. So in Cravo, we have a very hardy plant, and hardy plant doesn't attract the mother. Always the female insect, that mother that lay the eggs on the softer tissues. So you have a softer plant or leaf or a tissue in a polyhouse or in a greenhouse or in a net house, but you will not have that condition in a retractable roof because plants is very hardy. So, but because we are doing a very intensive farming here in India, so we have a option of this insect net below the roof. It may be a stationary insect net or it may be a retractable. Normally, this stationary type of insect net we put up in a dry tropical climate, just like in Aurangabad region, where rainfall is very less. So if you have a stationary insect net below the roof, that will solve your two purposes. One, it will protect you from insects. Second, it will conserve your humidity also. But in your Konkan region, Mumbai, Western Ghat region or Eastern coast region, you have a high humidity. So you have to manipulate that. You have to put up your retractable type of insect net with a retractable roof. Normally, that I have seen that many people, they are putting up a retractable insect shading net over the plastic stationery. So that doesn't solve the purpose. So you grow hardy plant so that your plant is less susceptible to the insect pest disease attack, or you put up a retractable type of insect net.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Some people are asking about the cost per square meter, cost per square feet. Also, what is the answer?
Yeah, that as I have told in my last slide, that cost of we have four type of model. So let me go to the slide also, that I don't know when I can share with you again. But let me say that for your four model, that flat roof is the cheapest model that we have. But that model is suitable only for the tropical dry condition, or there are certain crops which actually doesn't got affected by the heavy rainfall, just like the berries. So even the heavy rainfall doesn't affect those berries. So flat roof price is between 30 to $40 per square meter if you are putting up a 1 hectare structure. But if you are going for a larger area for 5 hectares, then price will come down to 25 to $30. And if X-frame structure is almost double to that of a flat roof. If it is a 1 hectare structure, then roughly price will be between $40 to $50 per square meter. And for A frame is $10, $10 to $15. Sorry, rafter house is $10 to $15 costlier than the X frame. And A frame is the top model. It's something like $70 to $80 per square meter costlier than, costlier per square meter. But this price I am talking about is a price with the CIF delivery to the nearest seaport like Mumbai or Kandla, or you can say the Chennai. And thereafter, the whatever the cost, the import duty, the installation, or local transportation, you have to bear that. So our price is from, because the material is come from Canada, so we can give the delivery to the seaport. Any other question?
No, thank you, sir. No other questions.
Welcome. And if anybody is interested, so even after this session also, that they can go to our website www.com, or you can also take my contact number from the organizer, from the Kisan. So you can talk to me directly also.
Kisan app brings agriculture at your fingertips. Explore unlimited agri products. Watch demo. Engage with brands. Avail special offers.